Well, we did get a Nintendo Direct, kind of, right? It was a Direct Mini, and looking back on this past week, something's kind of struck me here. We're about to go into April, and we still don't know what Nintendo's holiday title is, like their big tentpole game to kind of push them through the holidays, sell more Switch systems, and keep the momentum for this system going. Last year, of course, they had Pokemon Sword and Shield that sold over 15 million copies during that holiday time period. That's a lot of copies, right? They also had a lot of other, I don't want to say small titles because they're certainly not, but smaller than Pokemon, right? Ones that would kind of work as complementary titles alongside of it just to give more variety. Luigi's Mansion 3, of course. Then we also had Dragon Quest XI-S that had a lot of pretty good content in there that was not on the PlayStation 4 or the PC version. And then, of course, Link's Awakening that went alongside of the Switch Lite. Last holiday, there was a lot of stuff that happened, actually, for Nintendo, but now we're looking at the back half of 2020, and there's really only one game that most of us are probably predicting could be there because it's like the only game that Nintendo's even really mentioned recently, and that's Breath of the Wild 2. 2020 could have Breath of the Wild 2 as their holiday title, but I have to say, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Breath of the Wild will fall into next year, and that leaves me wondering, what in the world is Nintendo going to release for their holiday title? In fact, the question now is, what's their entire back half look like? We assume, okay, No More Heroes 3, that most likely will be there. Bayonetta 3 has to come out this year, right? Like, we heard about that game way too early. Like, sure, maybe they wanted to tell us about it. Okay, I guess, but now I'm kind of wishing they hadn't, because every single year now we go, maybe it's finally time for Bayonetta 3. We haven't even seen gameplay for this thing, and it was announced years ago, so that's great. There's no brand new Pokemon game that we know of now, and based on the expansion pack being something that's going to go through this year, we assume they're going to continue pushing Sword and Shield, and that kind of leaves us up wondering, what does Nintendo have then? And I do have a thought on what they could release this holiday, and like I said, I don't think it's Breath of the Wild 2. In fact, after it was brought up on the Spawncast this past week, I wonder if Breath of the Wild 2 is even a holiday game at all. I mean, Breath of the Wild, the first one, of course, went alongside the launch of the Switch, and it certainly didn't go into development day one as a game that would then launch next to the Switch. It was surely moved around throughout development, and it just happened to land as a release game for the Switch, and that also came out on the Wii U. I remember they had some stuff that was like specific to the Wii U tablet, and they moved all of that around so that it would also work on the Switch. And this year in particular is weird, right? Like, we of course know the virus has thrown all kinds of development cycles into flux. We're wondering what games could be delayed. Sony has even mentioned some stuff could be delayed. We're kind of working through it. We're even questioning if the next-gen consoles for the Series X and the PS5 are going to make it this holiday. And then we've even seen like Outer Worlds, for example, get pushed back because the entire studio shut down for a bit. It's all over the place. Nintendo even acknowledged this with the Direct Mini in the beginning, saying, hey, we're going to show you some release dates here, but we don't even know if those are going to still be in effect as we get closer to it. They could be pushed back. So that really brings up, to me anyway, if we don't have Pokemon for this year, two other franchises, and I think you know which one I'm really leaning towards here. It's either Zelda or Mario for the most part. I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be ready for, at the minimum, another year just to show us. And if they were going to build up Breath of the Wild 2 for this holiday, they probably would have started to do it in January. The fact that Nintendo's been so quiet all the way into April with no general direct since September tells me that Breath of the Wild 2 will probably receive a year-long marketing campaign starting maybe soon if it's going to be coming out in, say, March or April of next year, but if it's next holiday, maybe not until next January at this point. Yeah, so that did make me wonder if it would be a Mario game. Well, of course, we know Emily Rogers tweeted something out, and it went all over the internet, right? Said, good year to be a plumber. Solid year to be an RPG fan, Xenoblade, Bravely Default 2. Insane year to replay old games, HD remasters, deluxe ports, remakes. And decent year for more casual games. And of course, we just saw the Clubhouse games. That's certainly a casual game. She also mentions Animal Crossing here. But I look at this and I say, okay, a good year to be a plumber. What Mario games are coming out right now that we know of? Nothing. Like, that's so to me, I look at this holiday as being possibly a new 3D Mario game. That would certainly be a big game to have during the holiday. I think that'd be really cool. It could also be a Mario Kart game. What if they decided to do Mario Kart 9 for the holiday? I really can't think of anything else that would be massive right now for Nintendo if it's not Breath of the Wild 2 or Metroid Prime 4. And I even question Metroid Prime 4's ability to move massive amounts of units. I'm just happy they didn't outright cancel the thing when they came out and they decided to restart development. That's good, because if they ended up canceling Metroid Prime 4, that might have been it for just Metroid Prime in general. So Metroid Prime 4 historically has never sold massive numbers, so it falls to, I think, a Mario title. And I think, to be honest, looking at the back half of Nintendo, let's say they have a big 3D Mario game like Odyssey 2, and then you have Bayonetta 3 because it has to come out this year. Then you have No More Heroes 3, of course, Bravely Default 2, and then probably a bunch of other third-party titles that haven't even been announced yet. And I've wondered if there would be a general direct, which sounds weird, before June when we would have had the E3 Direct. We just had the mini that just put a bunch of third parties out there, or maybe even just a focused direct for a couple of games or even around a franchise. As Emily Rogers says, good year to be a plumber. I mean, consider the fact that we keep hearing about the Pikmin 3 port from the Wii U, the remaster, and then the 3D World. Those could also fall to the second half, one of them maybe even being a summer title. And let's not forget those rumors about a new Paper Mario game that's supposed to go back to its roots. And all of a sudden, Nintendo's second half starts to really pick up, which is good because recently their first halves have been spotty. I mean, Animal Crossing, massive, right? Huge sales. But if you're not an Animal Crossing fan right now, you probably are looking at this and saying, I'm kind of bored. And then also going back to Breath of the Wild 2, I look at what's happened with some of their games, like Luigi's Mansion taking a bit longer to come out, Yoshi's Craft World taking a bit longer to come out, and then Animal Crossing was supposed to be 2019. It got pushed to 2020. And looking at the scope of what I think they're going to try to do with Breath of the Wild 2, there's a chance that game could even end up being this system's like swan song, like their big ending game that might even end up being cross-gen if it's not Metroid Prime 4. What if Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't come out still for a couple of years? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? But I look at everything going on in the world right now. Development schedules all over the place, and I just feel like Breath of the Wild 2, with the amount of people, with Monolith Soft working on it, Nintendo's internal studios working on it, that just everything coming together might end up being something that just has to wait, a bit longer. Oh, and then when you know it, of course, right before this video was supposed to go live, a new rumor has hit the internet today, all about Mario having a ton of remasters this year to go alongside of the 35th anniversary for Super Mario Bros. And those currently include plans for Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, and Mario Galaxy to all see remasters this year, kind of leaning into the idea of this basically being a year of Mario, essentially, for the Switch. And considering we haven't even heard of any of these, considering so many places have kind of chimed in on this rumor, it does seem like the back half of this year could be heavily Mario themed, and maybe just a ton of Mario games could end up being what Nintendo has planned for this holiday. But I'll be talking more about this whole rumor and situation currently as it is still unfolding in tomorrow morning's news wave. So I'm going to lean towards a big 3D Mario game, maybe a sequel to Odyssey 2, right? Or maybe Mario Kart. I'm just leaning more towards Mario in general and Breath of the Wild being saved for maybe next year. But let me know what you guys think about this situation down below. Is it strange? Maybe it's just me. Is it strange that we don't even know what Nintendo's holiday title is? And if they wait till June, they could introduce their holiday title that comes out, say, in November, 5 months prior, and then push it with a big marketing campaign. So big reveal for the game, and then 5 months later it launches. That would be crazy for Nintendo in a year without E3 even, where they might actually benefit heavily from some of the marketing there with a really big booth and everything. Let me know, guys, though, down below in the comments. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if not. And I'll see you next time.